Okay, hello friends. Welcome back to this series on MCQs that we are dealing with. Okay, let me share the screen. Just a minute. It will take a few seconds. Yeah, yes. Thank you. So today's our topic of discussion is MCQs on Spirogyra. You can see here. Okay. Just a minute. Sorry. Yes. So we'll begin instantly. We'll take the first question. Question first is the genus Spirogyra belongs to which division of algae as per Bold and Wynne classification? Because as per your syllabus, you have to study Bold and Wynne classification. And accordingly, the question is set here. Phaeophyta, Rhodophycophyta, Chlorophycophyta, Euglenophycophyta, as we have studied, Bold and Wynne they have used the word phyco, which means algae, before phyta. So here, these are very equivalent to Phaeophycophyta, equivalent to Phaeophyta, that is brown algae, Rhodophyta, red algae, Chlorophyta, green algae, and Euglenophyta, that is flagellated algae. And we know Spirogyra, it is a member of Chlorophyta, green algae. So here the answer will be option C. That is the correct option. Okay. Okay. Second question. The genus Spirogyra is whether it is marine or freshwater or free floating or whether it is attached to substratum. So 2 points are asked together in a single question. So we also know that Spirogyra is freshwater and free floating. All species of Spirogyra, most of the species are free floating. Only when it is in juvenile stages, Spirogyra is in younger stages, it is attached to the substratum. Otherwise, it becomes free floating in its mature adult habit. Okay, so option B is the correct option here. Freshwater and free floating Spirogyra. The thallus of Spirogyra is unicellular or multicellular, branched or unbranched, filamentous or non-filamentous, that we studied. So here, the Spirogyra thallus or vegetative plant body consists of unbranched filaments. It is a filament and the filament is unbranched. So the answer here is option C. That is the correct answer. Okay. Next question. The chloroplast in Spirogyra is reticulate, spiral, ribbon-like, stellate, or cup-shaped. What is the shape of the chloroplast? So we know the shape of chloroplast of Spirogyra is very characteristic, and it is spirally arranged, spirally coiled, ribbon-like, or band-like structure. So here the correct answer is option B, spiral, ribbon-like chloroplast, characteristic of Spirogyra. Next question is the name Spirogyra itself is derived from which of its characteristic organelle is present in the cytoplasm, cell cytoplasm. So that characteristic organelle, as we know, it is chloroplast, which is characteristic, spirally coiled, and therefore the genus is called as Spirogyra due to spiral nature of the chloroplast. So here the answer is option C, chloroplast. Okay, next question. The sexual reproduction in Spirogyra is of what type? Isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous, or none of these? So we studied it is very primitive type. Oogamous is very an advanced type of reproduction, and this is the intermediate between the two types. So in this life cycle, we studied that sexual reproduction in Spirogyra is very primitive type, and it is isogamous type of sexual reproduction. So here the correct answer is option A. Okay, option A is the correct answer. Next question. The sexual reproduction is isogamous, but it occurs by which method in Spirogyra? Fission, budding, conjugation, or cell division? We know that within isogamous, it is more primitive and it is called as conjugation, which involves the fusion of the entire content of the cell of two different cells. The two different cells, their entire content fuse with each other, unite with each other, and that method is called as conjugation method. So here the answer is option C. That is the correct option. Okay. Next question. In Spirogyra, the uniting gametes or fusing gametes are morphologically isogamous, physiologically anisogamous, both of these or none of these. What is the case? We studied in Spirogyra, sexual reproduction is very primitive. It is isogamous type. It occurs by means of conjugation, and the fusing gametes are morphologically very similar. We cannot distinguish, we cannot differentiate between the two fusing gametes. We cannot say that this is male gamete, this is female gamete, because morphologically they are very similar with respect to size, shape, structure. They are very much similar. We cannot differentiate. We cannot separate between the two fusing gametes. So morphologically they are isogamous. But physiologically anisogamous means their behavior is different. Their physiology is different. One of the gamete is motile gamete, which move not by means of its flagella, but it shows amoeba-like movement. Its movement is amoeboid, so it moves from one place to other. And the other gamete is stationary gamete, which is awaiting for the another gamete to come and fertilize it. So the one gamete is moving gamete, and other gamete is non-moving gamete. So that moving gamete, we can call it as plus gamete or male gamete, and the non-moving stationary gamete can be called as female gamete. So physiological difference or behavioral difference is also there in Spirogyra. So physiologically anisogamous condition is also found. So both of these two options, morphologically isogamous and physiologically anisogamous, both the options are correct. So here the answer for this question is option C. That is the correct answer for this question. Okay. The presence of conjugation method of sexual reproduction, which involves fusion of non-flagellate, non-motile, amoeboid gametes. And this is the characteristic feature of which taxon, when you see the taxonomic position, which taxon has this character. This is the characteristic feature of which taxon of Spirogyra. So options are given, whether it is a characteristic of division, Chlorophyta, class Chlorophyceae, order conjugales, which is also called as zygnimales or zygnimatales, or it is characteristic feature of family of Spirogyra. This is a characteristic feature of what? So we know that conjugation method of sexual reproduction and absence of any motile stage or motile cells in the life cycle, whether it is reproductive, asexually reproductive cell that is called as zoospores, or sexually reproductive cells called as gametes, both are non-motile. So absence of zoospores and conjugation method of sexual reproduction, these two are important characteristic feature of the order of Spirogyra, and that is called as conjugales or zygnimatales. So here the answer is option C. That is the correct option. Okay, let's move to the second question. Next question. When the two opposite cells of two different filaments, separate filaments of Spirogyra show conjugation, this method of sexual reproduction is called as scalariform conjugation, lateral conjugation, both or none of these. We know when the two filaments are different and each opposite cell of the two filament undergo conjugation, then that method is called as conjugation, scalariform conjugation or ladder-like conjugation. So here the option is option A. That is the correct option. Okay. Next one. When the two adjoining cells or adjacent cells of the same filament, not two different filaments, but the same filament of Spirogyra show conjugation. So this filament can be called as bisexual filament. Okay. So when the two adjoining cell or neighboring cell, adjacent cells of the same filament undergo conjugation, this method of sexual reproduction is called as scalariform, lateral, both or none of this. Just now we have seen when two cells of the different filament are involved, it is called as scalariform conjugation. Here two cells of same filament. So this method is called as lateral conjugation method. So option B is the answer here. Okay. Next one. Only two cells, a pair of adjoining cell, only one pair of adjoining cell of the same filament, and that pair which is present just above the basal rhizoidal cell. So there are three cells. The lowermost cell is called as rhizoidal cell. Above that there is a female cell, and above that there is a male cell. And when this is the situation, when conjugation is shown by only a single pair of adjoining cell, this condition is present in which species of Spirogyra? So that is the question. So here species are given: Spirogyra affinis, condensata, planospora, Spirogyra jogensis. So this method is called as you have studied, this is found in direct lateral conjugation, and the characteristic example Or the important example of direct lateral conjugation is species Spirogyra jogensis, which is attached to the substratum by means of its basal cell that is called as the rhizoidal cell or heptaron. So here Spirogyra jogensis is the correct answer. Okay, option D. Next one. Which of the following is not true about Spirogyra? So, okay, species showing lateral conjugation are monoecious. Monoecious means single thallus, unisexual, or you can say, monoecious means bisexual, sorry. Monoecious means homothallic. When both the sex organs are present on a single thallus, then it is monoecious. And dioecious means unisexual. Two different thallus, heterothallic species, that is male and female plants are separate. So that condition is called as dioecious. When male and female plants or male and female sex organs or gametangium are present on the same plant body, the species are called as monoecious. Okay, so species showing lateral conjugation are monoecious. So that is right, bisexual. Scalariform conjugation are dioecious. Yes, two different filaments are involved here in scalariform conjugation. So the two filaments are separate, male and female filaments are separate. So this is also true. Not true is asked. Scalariform conjugation is called as lateral-like conjugation or H-shaped conjugation. That is also right. Direct lateral conjugation is also called a chain-like conjugation. This is not true because we have studied indirect lateral conjugation is called as chain-like conjugation, because in this method of sexual reproduction, there is formation of zygospores alternately. One cell remains empty and other cell consists of zygospore at the end of this type of conjugation. So here there should have been indirect lateral conjugation. Indirect lateral conjugation is also called as chain-like conjugation. But here direct lateral conjugation is given. So which is not true? This option D is the answer for this question. Okay. Next one. Let's move on to second. Next one. Next question. Which of the following is the most common method of sexual reproduction, which is the most advanced and common method of sexual reproduction in Spirogyra? So scalariform conjugation is the most common and advanced method of sexual reproduction. So here answer is option A. Okay. The species of Spirogyra like Spirogyra affinis, the species of Spirogyra like Spirogyra affinis reproduce by which method? So here I told you just now, Spirogyra affinis, which is the species attached to the substratum. Usually most of the species of Spirogyra are free floating, but there are some species like Spirogyra affinis, Spirogyra adnata, then your Spirogyra rhizopus, Spirogyra jogensis. These are attached to the substratum. So this is one of the species which is attached to the substratum. It shows indirect type of lateral conjugation. Lateral conjugation is a sexual method of reproduction which is very rare. Scalariform conjugation is the most common method of sexual reproduction, and this is lateral conjugation is a rare one. And indirect and direct both are rare. And indirect lateral conjugation is shown by species of Spirogyra called as Spirogyra affinis. So here the answer is option B. That is the correct answer. The species of Spirogyra like Spirogyra jogensis reproduced by which method? Again, so indirect lateral conjugation, example is Spirogyra affinis. Direct lateral conjugation, in which only a single pair is involved in conjugation, example is Spirogyra jogensis. And scalariform conjugation is common method. So here the correct option is answer C. That is the correct option. In Spirogyra, meiosis occurs in which cell? Spore mother cell or spore or zygospore or gamete. In which cell meiosis occurs in the life cycle of Spirogyra? We have studied after formation of zygote, which is a very primitive because sexual reproduction is isogamous. So that zygote here is called as zygospore, which is unicellular, uninucleate, diploid structure. And this zygospore, which consists of a diploid nucleus, that diploid nucleus undergoes meiosis to form 4 haploid nuclei. And out of these, 3 nuclei degenerate, disintegrate, broken down, and only 1 nucleus remains functional. So that zygospore with a functional nucleus then germinates to form a new independent haploid plant body of Spirogyra, that is the filament. So here in Spirogyra, meiosis takes place in zygospore. Answer is Option C, zygospore. Okay, next one. In Spirogyra, meiosis occurs during what? Whether it occurs during formation of spores or formation of gametes, formation of zygospores or germination of zygospore. So when meiosis occurs during formation of spores, that meiosis is called as sporogenic meiosis. When it occurs during formation of gametes, it is called as gametogenic meiosis. Okay, so here in Spirogyra, meiosis occurs here during germination of zygospore, because here during germination, just now I told, the diploid nucleus of zygospore undergoes meiosis, and usually from 4 haploid nuclei, 4 haploid spores are formed, which are called as meiospores. But in case of Spirogyra, it is surprising. Spirogyra is aquatic plant, aquatic alga, but in this aquatic alga, there is total absence of flagellated structures, whether they are spores or whether they are gametes. Non-flagellated structures are present. Non-flagellated gametes are present. So here there is no formation of zoospores. There is total absence of zoospores. There is total absence of meiospores. There is total absence of meiozospores. So here, out of the 4 nuclei, just now I told you, 3 nuclei degenerate and only 1 nucleus remains functional. So that method is called as germination of zygospore, during which meiosis occurs. So here the option, correct option is option D, that is the answer. Okay, option D. Next one, next question. Vegetative plant body of Spirogyra is haploid, diploid, triploid, or polyploid? Well, it is very simple. It is haploid plant body. It consists of, every cell consists of single set of chromosome. Answer is option A. Then the life cycle of Spirogyra is, okay, haplontic, diplontic, diplohaplontic, haplobiontic. Different types of life cycles are found in algae, but Spirogyra shows very simple life cycle that is called as haplontic life cycle, because here the plant body is haploid and most of the stages in the life cycle are haploid. Only the diploid stage is represented by the fusion product of fertilization that is called as zygote or zygospore. Otherwise, all the stages are haploid stages. Haploid phase is dominant in the life cycle, and such a life cycle is called as haplontic. When diploid is dominant, it is called as diplontic. So here the answer is option A. Okay, next question. Which of the following is the free floating species of Spirogyra? Affinis, Jogensis, Rhizopus, Condensata. We have seen most of the species of Spirogyra are free floating and they are attached only in their juvenile stages. And there are some exceptions like Spirogyra affinis, Spirogyra adnata, Spirogyra jogensis, Spirogyra rhizopus, which are attached species. And this is free floating species. Spirogyra condensata is the most common species of Spirogyra, which is free floating species. So here the answer is option D. Okay. Next one, Spirogyra is commonly called as water silk or pond scum. Why it is called so? Due to characteristic feature of cell wall of what? So we studied cell wall is made up of outer layer that is made up of pectose, inner layer made up of cellulose, and the cross wall, which is also called as the end wall, which is made up of pectocellulose. It is equivalent to the middle lamella. But outermost layer of pectose consists of pectin, which changes when it dissolves in water. It forms a mucilaginous or slimy sheath. So this is the reason why the filaments feel slippery to touch, and therefore it is commonly called as water silk or pond scum. Okay, so here answer is option D. That is the correct answer. The number of pyronoids present in each chloroplast. Each chloroplast consists of how many pyronoids in Spirogyra? So there are several pyronoids in a single chloroplast. So option is D. There are many pyronoids in a single chloroplast. Well, here, male gamete is motile, female non-motile, female motile, male non-motile. What is the case? Both male and female gametes are motile. Both male and female gametes are non. Just now we have seen this is very primitive type of sexual reproduction. Here, the characteristic feature of Spirogyra is that it produces non-motile gametes as well as non-motile spores. Actually, spore formation is absent in Spirogyra, but if exceptionally it is producing spores, the spores are always non-motile. So there is total absence of any motile stages, either in the form of spores or gametes. So both the male and female gametes are non-motile in Spirogyra. So the answer is Option D, that is the correct option. The gametes in Spirogyra are, just now we have seen, they are non-flagellated, without any flagella, without any flagellated stage in the life cycle. So D is the correct option. Okay. Next question. The reserve food material, the stored food material in Spirogyra is called as? Okay. Glycogen is usually reserve food material of fungi, starch, Floridian starch, myxophycean starch, different types of starch. This is found in cyanophyta. This is a characteristic feature of rhodophyta, red algae. So true starch is the characteristic feature of chlorophyta, and Spirogyra belongs to chlorophyta, green algae, which consists of starch as the reserve food material. So here the answer is option B, starch. The pigments found in Spirogyra are chlorophyll A, AB, AC, AD. So chlorophyll A and B are the pigments which are present in Spirogyra, which give bright green color, and therefore it is placed in chlorophyta division, chlorophycophyta of algae. Okay, so option B is the correct answer. Okay, next one. The reserve food material is stored in what? Central vacuole, chloroplast, pyrenoid, cytoplasm. The starch is stored where? Stored food material or reserve food material is present in which cytoplasmic organelle? So it is pyrenoids, centers of starch formation. So C is the correct option here. C, option C is the answer. Next, which of the following is the diploid structure in Spirogyra? Just now we studied that Spirogyra is haploid and it shows haplontic life cycle, and most of the structures in the life history are haploid. Only the diploid structure is its zygote, called as zygospore, the fusion product, the product of conjugation, and the rest of the structures are haploid. Aplanospore, it is a non-motile spore. Aplano, means absent. Planospore means motile spore. Zoospore is also called as planospore. So aplanospore is non-motile spore. Zoospore is motile spore. Akinete is another asexual structure. It is actually the cell of Spirogyra, which has become thick-walled. Zygospore, this is also a sexual spore. Zygospore is a product of fertilization, and in case the fertilization fails, there is failure in the sexual union of male and female gamete, then the structure form is called as azygospore or parthenospore. So all these three are haploid structure. Only the diploid structure is zygospore. So here the option is C is the correct option. Answer is C. Okay, next one. Which of the following species of Spirogyra reproduces by non-motile asexual spores? Just now I told non-motile asexual spores are called as aplanospores. Motile asexual spores are called as zoospores. Usually in Spirogyra, asexual reproduction is absent. It is exceptionally shown by some of the species. So here question is, which species reproduce asexually by non-motile asexual spore, that is aplanospore. So you can see here options: Spirogyra affinis, Spirogyra aplanospora, condensata, rhizopus. So obviously the answer is Spirogyra aplanospora. As the name itself suggests, there is presence of aplanospores for asexual reproduction. So this species, Spirogyra aplanospore, reproduces by asexual method. So here the answer is correct. Option is option B. Okay. Spirogyra is found free floating in which water? Salt water or fresh water? Stagnant water or running water? Which water? Of course, it is freshwater alga, and it is stagnant. Usually, it is mostly found in stagnant water. It is not found in running water. It is not found in very fast flowing water. It is found in slowly flowing water like ponds, pools, ditches, even in rivers, which are slowly moving. So here answer is stagnant fresh water. That is the correct option, option C. The fertilization in Spirogyra is external, internal, or what? So here fertilization is internal, because the gametes are not released outside the plant body. The fusion or conjugation takes place inside the body itself. So fertilization is, of course, internal. B is the correct option. The number of chloroplasts in a single cell of various species of Spirogyra is how many chloroplasts are there in a single cell. And this number varies from species to species. So here option is 1 to 16. 1 to 16 chloroplasts can be found in a single cell of different species of Spirogyra. How many meiospores or meiospores are produced during germination of zygospore? Just now I told zygospore consists of diploid nucleus. It undergoes meiosis to form 4 haploid nuclei, but spores are not formed. 3 nuclei degenerate and the haploid functional nucleus germinate to produce new plant body. So there is total absence of meiospore formation, meiospore formation. So you can see the options, none. None is the option. No meiospores are formed in the life cycle. Okay. The protoplast of the cell of Spirogyra contracts from the cell wall. We have studied that. It loses water by exosmosis. It contracts and the protoplast becomes what? Whether it is called as gametangium, gamete, sporangium, or spore. That shrunken protoplast is called as what? It is called as gamete. And the cell in which that protoplast is present is called as gametangium. So cells become modified to function as gametangium, and the protoplast, that is the cell without cell wall, whatever is present inside the cell, that behaves as the gamete. So here the option is option B, that is the answer. Okay. Next one. The chain-like conjugation in Spirogyra is also called as, okay, scalariform conjugation is called as ladder-like conjugation. And chain-like conjugation in Spirogyra is also called as indirect lateral conjugation. But here option is not given, indirect lateral conjugation. Direct lateral conjugation is given, terminal conjugation is given. But indirect lateral conjugation is also called as unisogamous lateral conjugation. So this is the correct option. Chain-like conjugation in Spirogyra is also called as indirect lateral conjugation or unisogamous lateral conjugation. Okay. Option is B. Terminal conjugation is present in which species of Spirogyra? This is exceptional, but Spirogyra, you can see colligata. This species show terminal type of conjugation. The Spirogyra colligata. Next, in which species cross walls or end walls, that is the walls which are present in between two cells of Spirogyra in the filament, are H-shaped. Okay. So again, the option is Spirogyra colligata, which reproduces by terminal conjugation. They consist of H-shaped end walls or cross walls. Option B. Again, in which species of Spirogyra H pieces in the cross wall or end walls, they help in vegetative reproduction called as fragmentation, because these H pieces slip off to produce two fragments. They are broken easily. So this is found in which species? Just now we have seen it is in Spirogyra colligata. Okay, answer is option D. The genus Spirogyra belongs to which family? Spirogyraceae, Zygnimaceae, Mogaceae, Chlorelaceae, which family? It doesn't belong to Spirogyraceae. It belongs to Zygnimaceae or Zygnimataceae. Zygnima is another member which can be called as brother of Spirogyra. So Spirogyra belongs to his big brother family, Zygnimaceae, Zygnimataceae. So here the answer is, correct option is option B. That is the correct answer. Okay. So this covers 40 questions. These are some of the references. This is very good book. Sharma O.P. Vashishtha B.R.'s book is also a very nice book. Sharma O.K. Objective Botany is another old book which is having lots of objective type questions. This is website Biology Discussion. Usually I refer, and many more books are there. Textbooks are also there. You can find, you can read between the lines to have objective type multiple choice questions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for kindly listening. And if you have any questions, any doubt, you can email me. Email is given in the very first slide, or you can ask in the comment box. You can comment when I upload this video to the YouTube, and I'm getting lots of responses also from the students from different colleges, various colleges affiliated to SPPU, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm thankful to all because students are studying, it seems students are studying nicely, seriously, they are preparing, they are practicing for their coming examination, and I wish them all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, thanks.